It is less than this ruler. It is about 9 or 10 inches, so less than this ruler determined the winner of the race.
You've only got to get to here, just over a car width, and he ends up almost down the yellow line.
This is Formula One racing, this is road course racing, and this is also short track racing. Welcome into a special best of edition of NASCAR Inside the Race presented by Consumer Cellular. In this episode, we'll look back at some of the best finishes, pit road performances, and strategy calls.
To get us started, let's look back at our first photo finish of the year from Atlanta.
It is less than this ruler. It is about 9 or 10 inches, so less than this ruler determined the winner of the race.
And on beyond that is, it's only 2 of those to third place. Just an incredible finish.
Middle of the backstretch. Blaney's leading. You see the 8 and the 99 behind. And this is the move. The first thing that kind of comes to mind is right here. I thought Ryan Blaney, it was clear to me that he was committed to the bottom. There was not a big evasive block. We had seen this lap after lap after lap where Blaney led back to the line. I think he knew, plus listening to his interview after, that he thought, commit to the bottom, don't lose my momentum zigging and zagging, and I should win back at the start-finish line.
Yeah, I think he felt that way, and I think this plays out. If it works out for him, there's an opportunity for him to still win this thing. Bubba Wallace, coming with a fair amount of momentum, got Kyle Busch to the middle here, but chooses the bottom as we watch this play out.
Well, that makes a big difference because now Bubba is right to the rear bumper, and I'm going to back that up because I want to see it. It's kind of right at the camera, right there. So I'm going to take a look. I want you to look at something that's very important. That flame out the pipe right there, that is Bubba Wallace out of the gas. And not because he's afraid to hit Ryan Blaney, but the front tires aren't working anymore. He's pushing, he's going up the track.
He's gotten really tight, the front tires won't work, and that's having to lift because he's got to get that back under control. He's got to gain some space, get some air back on the nose.
Well, so what does that happen? You lift, and you watch this as I play it forward. You see him go up the racetrack, but more importantly, okay, if you're Ryan Blaney, you do not want to see this right here. You do not want to see this big gap. Well, you want a car there because nobody's helping him. That's really the problem, right? So it kind of forces the 23 up, but he's going backwards. The 2 now is kind of heading in the right. So the 2 is kind of heading this direction, right? So he thinks he's going to go forward, and as we play it forward, that's kind of what happens. You see the 2 get a run. I think the 2 at this point, to be quite honest, Bubba doing a nice job trying to side draft. I don't think Cindric wants to push the 99. But I don't think the third car in line, the 47 of Stenhouse, he's not going to give him any option. He's going to get right to his rear bumper right there. And you see, it's not much, but the momentum is going forward on the 2 to the start-finish line. First of all, let's talk about where we're racing to. I know that sounds silly, but we are not racing to the checkered. We are not racing in this area right here. The race is determined at the leading edge of this yellow line. So basically right there. It's like the front edge of an end zone.
The nose just needs to touch that yellow line.
Just the yellow line. So as I play it forward, I think it's pretty close at the beginning of the checkered. So if you look right here, in my mind, the 99 is definitely on the line. And if we zoom in, even though it's a little blurry, there's a small 8, 9, 10-inch gap, and then basically a 20-ish inch gap back to Kyle Busch. So it's clear that Swords is the winner. What matters now is Mike McDowell is clear. He's been there before. But now Brad Keselowski is clear. Now he has the opportunity to kind of go to the outside, right? He's clear to his right. He has that move. But instead, he does exactly what great plate racers do, and he stacks the field up.
This is what Josh Berry was trying to do back on exiting turn 2 and didn't do as well. Watch Brad back up. And not only does he back up to the point that the 10 gets here, but watch the momentum from the 99 and 48 coming to the 1 as well.
And I love the fact that now the 6, and he's a half a lane up, so the 10 can't go below him. It's a long ways around him. Now look what he has. Look at all this space he has in front of him to maneuver. He has all of these cars. I mean, what's he have? We got 1, 2, 3, 4 cars. I'll say the 48.
The 48 was coming too, so I'd add him as 5.
So now he's going to have 5 cars worth of help when we go back in the forward direction. And that right there is the move. I mean, now the 6 is coming, and now the 34, he's either going to get really lucky or not win the race. And that's the decision that I think Michael would want back. So as this moves forward, the 6 goes right, and he goes right with no intention of passing him to the outside.
None at all. He's just trying to drag the 34 to play defense on that, so then he can turn back to the bottom. The piece here, as you see, Brad's starting to turn back to the bottom already.
Right, so we have the 6 car is thinking this way, and the 34's momentum is still going this way. And I think this is going to really matter as we move forward, right? So,
and really, if you think about this, the 34 only needs to block another 4 feet, but he ends up blocking another 10 feet.
like right there, we would say you're done, right? The 6 isn't going to be the year outside. Let's go as far as he is. He's all the way. It's a great camera cut, actually. Let's go all the way to that. I'll say right there is kind of the top. So there is a car width to the outside, but Brad is already turned left. I mean, Brad is just a couple frames ahead.
This is experience. That's and this will go in the notebook for the 34 team.
And that's why, so follow me, if McDowell's car was still on the front headlight, right? If McDowell's car was more here. Now, I don't even mean blocking Brad, but kind of crowding him, forcing Brad to keep turning the wheel, I think he has a chance. You know, the problem is that he has such a big gap. I think Brad knows that he's kind of got to get the momentum.
And Brad, yes, he does. And he's a little behind in the reaction. Part of which is because he went too high and didn't make the commitment back. And then the move down to the bottom, he goes way too far. If you look at it, you've only got to get to here, just over a car width, and he ends up almost down the yellow line.
Right, so if we clear these and I play it forward, all right, well, there you go, right? So now we're coming back down, and, you know, the double yellow line's coming. And at this point, I actually think the rear tires are sliding. I think he is wrecking whether the 6 hits him or doesn't hit him.
I don't think the 6 has hit him yet. I think the rear tires are sliding because he's made that aggressive move to the bottom, and now he's like, whoa, I got to come back. I got to come back right here.
Yeah, and remind everybody, here's your race winner. I love to give Tyler Reddick credit, but this is wide open and I hope they miss.
Yes.
And wide open. Now, he does miss the back bumper of the 6, so he does a nice job. But, look, we're breaking this down frame by frame. Mike went down an amazing job to finish that race. Brad Keselowski, I thought, played chess a little better and pushed him out in the right position. And Talladega start-finish line. I know we talk about it every time we go, but if it's in the middle of the trial, well, you have to race it totally differently. It's not. It's all the way through the trial, and that extra distance was kind of all it took for the 34 not to defend and for the 45 to get in front of the 6.
There's a couple things that can be going on here. I think Chris may have entered kind of in the middle, anticipating whether Kyle Larson was going to wrap the bottom or not, and thinking he could slide up in front of Kyle.
Because the 5 just ran the bottom the last time we were down here.
Right, and if that's the case, I think he's late to the block, and Kyle Larson drove this thing past everybody to get up to the quarter panel and up to the top. It's really impressive how much speed Kyle Larson rolled into here. I don't know if it was a plan to come up and block him, or whether Chris Buescher's thinking, I want the 5 car. If he's going to be beside me, I want him on the outside of me, pinned up against the wall in turn 4.
Yeah, maybe the 17 is exactly where he should be. Maybe just Kyle Larson makes a more impressive move. His entry speed here, I want you to really focus on this up here. If you look at the amount of area he has from that right front to the wall as he rolls off into the corner, another way to look at it is on the bottom. It is so tough to judge that entry speed. Gets right up to the side of the 17. And now to your point, you think the 17, let's take a look. He is thinking, remember the start-finish line's up there. He is going to go down this way, straight shot to the bottom, to the apron, and get away from the 5.
Yeah, and he's actually, you would expect him to try to get all the way down here to the grass, just to get himself away from the 5 and go there. And I think at this point right now, where you're looking at, the 5's got this little advantage.
Yep.
But the error right here,
off
of this windshield, is dumping straight onto that spoiler and slowing him down.
Right, so if I hit play, and you're going to see the 17's going to try to kind of turn left, and it works. The difference is, look at the 5. The 5 knows where he's going, and he's chasing him down there because he wants to get back onto that side draft.
The 17 got the 5 where he wanted him. The 5 knew that he was where the 17 wanted him, and he was already making the move down the hill before the 17 peeled off of him.
And the whole time, the 19 and the 9 are back here. They're just hoping they have enough momentum. They just want to see these 2 beat and bang a little bit more, which they get a little fortunate because there is some beating and banging. Look at this right here. So much contact that the 17 leaves tire marks.
Yes.
He gets hit so hard that he leaves rear tire marks. That has to hurt the momentum of the 17.
And I think the piece that you look at here, I don't think Kyle Larson intended to door him and hit him that hard. I think Kyle Larson felt that the 17 was going to go all the way down to the grass to get away from him. At this point here, the 5 feels like the 17 is going to continue down to here.
Right.
So I need to be right there with him.
Yeah, I'm going to follow him down there.
But the problem is the 17 didn't go that low, and that caused the contact. Really impressive run.
Yeah, in the end, what's that look like? Well, it looks like the closest finish in NASCAR history, 1/1000th of a second. The red line is dropped in. That's the tip of the 5-splitter. The black line is the tip of the 17-splitter. At that moment in time, Kyle Larson is leading the 17 of Chris Buescher.
Those were just a few of the great finishes we've seen this season. But next up, we'll break down exactly how 1 second can be gained on pit road.
Hey race fans, Corey LaJoy here. Join Ryan Flores and myself for Stacking Pennies each week. I'll break down my race and explain what happened right out of my windshield.
Plus, we award the Dogs of the Week for the best pit crews and go in-depth on all the money stops, pit road mistakes, and penalties.
And we've got a ton of guests. We have SVG stopping by. We had Ricky Stenhouse after he punched Kyle Busch in the face. We've had Bubba. We've had all sorts of guys in here in the Nonsense Garage, so you do not want to miss it. Check us out on Sirius XM Channel 90, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcasts. Each and every week, Stack of Pennies is what's up.
As former crew chiefs, we understand that having a fast pit crew can be the difference between first and second place. So let's look back and highlight some teams who gained that extra advantage on pit road. Just compare these two pit stops side by side and see exactly what 1 second looked like. Remember, a week ago it was 3 seconds for Christopher Bell. This is what 1 second looks like.
Yeah, you add this up, you watch it full speed to start with, it doesn't look that bad, but that's the difference in coming out first from third or coming out second from first.
So the difference is 1.1 seconds in the end, so let's try to find it. Where is 1.1 seconds on a pit stop? So if we take a look, both drivers do a nice job into the box and really pretty close to the sign.
Yeah, got to the sign, you look at it here, really break this into right side around the car and left side. The right side here, we're at the point that the jack man down here for Denny Hamlin, he's dropping the car back down. You can see the car coming back down, and that's 3.5 seconds.
So let's move till the 19 drops. Not long, 0.3 of a second. Now the 19 car has come down. So on the right side, you mentioned 3 spots, right, transition, and left. On the right side, Truex's crew, 0.3 behind.
Yeah, 0.3, and that's not terrible, but it's accumulative when we add all this up. So let's roll it forward from here.
So now around the car, we were 0.3 behind on the right. The jack man right here on the 11 car, he's kind of on the handle, basically signifying that the jack is going to go up on the right side, 6.27. We move forward, 6.57. I think the 19's on the same. So the jack men around the car, we'll call them equal. The same 0.3 they were behind on the right, they're still behind.
Yes, yeah, it looks like it's to that point, they've kind of maintained where they are, got that little differential, but coming forward.
This would have been manageable, but on the left side is where the time gets lost. So if we go forward and stop, I'm going to zoom in right here. Hard to see. The left rear tire clearly off of the 11. That kind of signifies, now listen, the rear guys have to run around and chase the car. In a standard pit stop, the rear tire changer is normally the last one complete.
It's out here at 7.44. As you can see forward, we don't have the tire clear until 8.61.
And it's hard to see, but basically if you look right in the middle of that highlight, the wheel well is empty. The tire has been pulled out. So if you just kind of get rid of both of those, you see at 8.6, at this point, over a second behind where the 11 was done at.
Jackman actually is waiting to hang the tire here as quickly as Denny Hamlin's crew did it. I think there's a little bit of transition there that the Jackman's still trying to get ready to hang the tire. That brings some of that time differential back to just over a second.
We dropped the jack, both cars leave. I looked at Richmond. There were 16 pit stops up and down pit road in sub 10 seconds. The 11 car had 4 of them.
Yeah.
So this isn't just one good stop that made the difference.
No, and they put it together. As you looked at the graphic we had, those were 4 of the last 5 stops for the 11 car, which would be money position. So really put it together there, and coming out at that time, they jumped not only the 19 car, but the 22 car, who also had something in the 10.9 range, got themselves positioned to control the race.
11.3, 10.6, that's it.
Yes.
21.9 seconds spent in his pit box. That is a remarkable effort by the one team.
Yeah, definitely. And we've got to give kudos to the gas guy because this is all about getting fuel into the car. And as you look at it, he got himself plugged in. Really great exchanges here. We've picked on some other guys about it. Can back, can forward, good plug in. 2.2 seconds. And that
it happened so quick. Let's give him credit. I want to see this thing again, right? So he's in there. He knows he has to go back and get that. I'm going to play it real time to give him full credit. Slow motion takes away how well this happens. Look at this.
And there's 2 pieces. Guy behind the wall catches that can because it's coming fired at him. but the exchange there and a good clean plug coming back. 2.2 seconds on an exchange at a racetrack, pretty good exchange.
And he knows coming down pit road, it's all on him. Tire changes have a little extra time when he's done. Remember, he has to get the fuel in the car. You have to do it all on your own. Here's the second pit stop. Really just as good. First can's in, everything's looking good. Gets in a really great athletic position. Watch this exchange. You mentioned pit crew member behind the wall, 2.3 seconds from can to can. Look at this exchange here. These are the things that when you talk about practice, it's more than just practicing pit stops. You have one crew member catching it, but watch how the crew member in the black does a nice job of almost extending and giving the gas man a location for both hands.
Keep in mind that this can full of gas is just under 100 pounds, probably 97 pounds.
So there is where I would drop it. Where the guy in the black let go of that. When the black fire suit handed it to me, this is when it would hit the asphalt.
Yeah, but that's the piece, is that you've got to get it over the wall so that gas man can have momentum coming back to the car. Nice little step there and a clean plug. Really
so
clean
good.
Plug.
And as I play it forward, I like this. The car goes down. Ross does a nice job. Doesn't move. You know, the driver's been trained to go on the jack, go on the jack, go on the jack. He just sits there. He waits, and it doesn't take long. Gas man
There you go.
gets the can out, and off he goes.
We've seen pit stop times continue to creep lower and lower with coaching and evolution of technique. It'll be interesting to see what teams continue to find, but up next, it's strategy time.
I'm Ryan Flores. Join Kim Kuhn and myself each and every week right here at Around the Track. Whether you are going to the racetrack or watching from home, we get you ready for all things national and regional level.
And we'll tell you who and what to watch for each week. Plus, we get you ready for the weekend at the racetrack, and Erica will help you place your bets to win some easy money.
Be sure to check out Around the Track every Wednesday on NASCAR's YouTube channel.
Steve, this is what you and I live for. Strategy calls. We've got a couple to look at, and up first, long versus short pitting on a short track.
Assuming everyone has to stop one time in the stage, the determining factor is when do you stop? Do you stop short? Do you stop long? So let's just talk about this in general. So if we assume this is how long we have to run, right? All the way across here, we'll say that's 100 laps.
Yep.
We'll say in the middle here, we're going to call that lap 50. That's the halfway point.
Yep.
So the simple strategy, the strategy that everyone seems to employ, we're going to give it to the blue. He's going to leave, he's going to go, and before he gets to halfway, he's going to come to pit road, get some new tires, and then he's going to run all the way to the finish on those new tires, getting slower before he gets to the finish, which is somewhere out here to the right. Yes. That is the shortstop strategy. The concept is the guy that does it the other way, he's going to basically be on top of the blue, right, or really right next to, looking good, feeling good, feeling good. He comes at halfway, so he comes down here and he gets some new tires. And then he runs out and continues to run and run and run and run and run. So the advantages to each. The shortstop guy is here. Is this right?
Yes.
So
yeah, the
this is
shortstop.
positive.
He's making lap time. Second and a half, depends on the racetrack, but a fair amount more for a short duration, probably 8-10 laps.
So
depending
big
on where you are.
advantage for less laps.
Yeah.
So then the guy who stops long has all of these laps with a smaller advantage.
Yes, definitely. One of those situations. And if you look at it here, his advantage is, it's what that lap time difference is between those two laps. Might be 2-3 tenths of a second. Not the second and a half it was before, but he's got it for many more laps. And if you look at this strategy-wise, what the blue guy traded out, what's up here.
Right.
That he's all going to run slower than anybody for being faster through that center section.
So the big risk in my mind is real simple. There's a risk for blue because he's pitted. So when you come to pit road, you got to probably go a lap down. So until the other guy pits, you're a lap down for that time. So that's their risk. Mm-hmm. The risk for the guy running longer, the yellow, his risk is actually on the second half of this run because he feels good when the blue comes on to pit road. If the caution comes out, he hasn't pitted yet. He's going to look great.
Right.
Once he comes to pit road, now he has given up time. He needs that run to play out for those two tires that are just a little bit better. He needs all of those laps to gain it back. That's what got Larson in the middle stage. Is he basically came down, only pitted once. He had a little bit better tires. He needed the whole thing to play out. The caution got him. It basically put him behind in track position. This is Formula One racing. This is road course racing. And this is also short track racing, because this is what we see at Richmond almost every time we go.
What's the norm? I think you and I both agree we can't drive off the front of the pack. So the only other option is to pit with a group of cars and try to run our own speed, run wide open. We saw Toyota try to do this in the final stage. So we just take a look, right? So we'll take a couple cars. That's the easiest way to do it. We'll say these 2 cars here are running. We'll take our car here, bring them to pit road. He'll come early with the group.
He's there. This guy's got to be making his lap.
Yep, so he's out there running.
He's out there going along. He's going to get probably about to here before your guy can start to come off pit road.
So he's coming off pit road really, really slow. He has to come up to speed. This guy basically is going to come all the way around to try to catch them. And they're going to end up, we see this a lot, right? We're going to see kind of on the backstretch. We'll say
almost the back straightaway.
Yeah, almost the back straightaway. So this is why you think it's an advantage to pit later and not earlier, because now the car that pitted earlier is the blue car. The pack is the white Camry here.
Yes.
You think the Camry now has an advantage?
Yeah, because there's a situation here where there's a draft off of this white car. There's some air moving along here. And
So
now,
even though they're almost a whole straightaway apart, and you and I agree on this,
we felt like it
hit
was
the
like
pole.
9 seconds. If you could be within 9 seconds of that car, you're seeing some of that momentum the car was pulling of air, and that means that you're not having to push that air. You get a little lap time, and that'll help you kind of move your way forward.
well then, and you brought this up, this is a great point. Let's put this car here. Let's say there's a couple stragglers that had a bad pit stop, maybe they're a lap down, and what that's going to allow is a little bit of a leapfrog. This pack is going to get a draft of this car.
And
Then
then
once
you
they
think
got right.
here, they leapfrog this. Now they're that close to this car. And at this point, the pack now has momentum coming to you, and they're going to use you up when they get there.
Well, and why that all matters is because if we kind of reset the whole thing, if we pull back up to the rear bumper, you put this car here and this car here. Remember, when this car pits, he's going to come out basically a quarter lap in front, which is the whole idea.
Yes, that's the whole piece, and you've lost the advantage.
We've had plenty of memorable moments so far this season, so many that we couldn't fit them all into one episode. As the Olympic break continues, make sure to tune in next week as we highlight more breakdowns and some viral oddities we saw in the first half.